The Aussie NFL Fantasy Show would like to acknowledge the traditional land owners and the leaders past, present and emerging of Ngunnawal, Ngambri and Darawal countries where we are working from today. This always was, and always will be, Aboriginal land.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
If we just put a British accent, someone just narrating how to get your medicines prescribed.
Aussie?
Oh no, I just gave it away. Jeez, it's me. I was the guy that won the Astro League. I forgot about
shit, were you?
but
NFL?
He was just silent, no camera on. I'm just sitting there, I'm like eating my finger bun pre-draft.
Fantasy.
and they were having breakfast together, sitting there having big breakfasts, having a bit of bacon and egg, bit of sausage.
Sharing a
So
bagel. Very good.
we all know what that means. So basically, lock MPJ in for a top one season this year.
Top one.
Taylor the tradesman. No reason to have a trade segment on the podcast.
This is the Aussie NFL Fantasy Show.
Yeah, there we go. There we go, mate.
Yeah, that's the stuff.
Oh, that looks even bigger, man.
That didn't do anything for me.
Oh, it did stuff for us. Yeah.
It did shit for us. It's good enough.
In today's busy world, it's hard to have it all. Who has time to do all the analysis and decision making for your fantasy team? Probably not you, but we can help. Whether it's positively diagnosing players with fantasy leprosy, or helping you find the players who are on the verge of being fantasy legendary. There's only one name in all of fantasy you can really trust. Make an appointment with Dr GoodCall. So welcome to Dr GoodCall for the week. Clearly the doctor is not in, and you're stuck with, kind of the intern. I kind of feel like this is like that first episode of Scrubs. Did you ever watch Scrubs, Manjot?
I mean,
It's a show that's
barely.
older than you, so I'll be okay and not too offended if you say no.
I mean, I only know that the one dude was like a Niners fan who recited the entire catch. I know that quote. I've seen
Yeah.
that scene, but that's pretty much it.
And I mean, great scene. Donald Faison plays Turk. Love that guy. But here I'm the skinny little white guy with the spiky hair who is just trying to make it as a doctor. And it's a whole, pretty much the whole first series is pretty much what this next 15 minutes is going to be of me pretty much just with verbal diarrhea and trying to fumble my way through this segment.
Man,
Hey, last week actually really rocked everyone's jocks and socks, didn't he? Right? Like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
it's incredible.
He picked pretty much the same team in starts of the week, and we'll talk about the starts of the week scores later on. But because we disallowed one of the players from his Dr. Goodcall's pick when he tried to bring him up in starts of the week, it turns out his Dr. Goodcall segment would have scored even more points than the 60 bajillion, 11 million that his starts of the week team scored. I'm going to run through really quick who we picked, right?
Ooh.
Just because I think this is a fair thing to do. He'd taken both because he's a bit of a jerk. Andy Dalton, which wasn't such a great call, but Justin Fields, who threw up only like 42 fantasy points and was so ownable last week while there were a few teams on bye. He gets a nice bunch of points out of Miles Sanders, who scores you a nice touchdown as well against those awful Texans. He scored so well, they even pulled him out of the goal line package at one time. Like Kenneth Gainwell scored one, which means that I was trying to tell him he shouldn't start Miles Sanders and he should start Kenneth Gainwell in start of the week, and he would have scored almost the same amount of points for doing that. This Gainwell ended up on the field a bit. Juju Poo Juice, man, he was so right about the trajectory that Juju's on. And of course, he starts Gerald Everett at tight end, who had a tougher day, but he still get you almost 9 points in PPR. So it's, for tight end, I think it's relative. Tight end is a bullshit, it is just the worst to try and pick a tight end off that waiver wire. And a guy who's on the fringe of starting is pretty much what he's trying to do there, is say, if you're nervous about a guy, don't be nervous about these four guys, one at each position. And I think you got to be happy with getting about that many points from tight end. So overall, I'm going to give Taylor it's like he's been sleeping with dogs. Tick, 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 tick.
Mm.
Do you disagree?
Yeah.
Do you think he nailed the hell out of it or what?
Yeah, that was Taylor nailed. Play that drop, Matty. Play it.
Oh, I'm going to.
Taylor nailed.
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even the cash register and the rolling coin, man, that was such a good drop.
We need that. We
And
need.
God bless the wife, my poor long suffering wife for voicing that for me. She's a
Oh,
good
boy.
sport. She's a good egg, that girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Put
Now
up with
that's
me.
yeah, that's perfect. Taylor nailed, and it's like, yeah, your wife just nails that voice. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
I went back to her and asked her because Taylor said at one point, you know what I need? I'm nailing so many things. I actually need to step up. I need a Taylor fucking drilled it. And I asked my wife if she would
Oh.
voice it, and she goes, no.
Yeah.
Just that simple. Just there's no conversation about it. She just looks at me, ticks the head a bit, goes, no.
No, 100%.
She puts up
Yeah.
with enough of my bullshit, mate. All right. Dr. GoodCall is all about people trending up. I've kind of gone the other way around it, and I'm looking at guys who this time there are 4 teams on a bye, and some of them are some pretty high-powered offenses. And I'm looking at Dr. GoodCall this week as, okay, you're in a position where either you're suffering from somebody who's really underperforming, or you're one of these 4 teams that all have really fantasy startable players on them. What do you do? And I think if you're one of these guys who's missing someone like Lamar Jackson, or which I'm looking at you, Manjot, or if you're missing someone like Joe Shiesty, then you could do worse than Daniel Jones. And the reason I mention this is, what did we do a trade for earlier?
Oh, we traded Daniel Jones. We mentioned this in the start of the pastries. It was Daniel Jones for Dawson Knox. You got Dawson Knox. I got Daniel Jones. So
even you know this is a good decision, right? Because you made this decision 35 minutes ago.
Yeah, I made that decision very, very quickly. All this just to beat Taylor.
Yeah.
So yeah. And Taylor responds
because he's the number 1 seed in that league.
Yeah, Taylor responds by dropping Tyler Boyd and picking up Jason Myers. So, oh man, I'm shaking my boots right now. Just
he dropped Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, he just dropping Tyler Boyd out of nowhere. It's like, frick, what was
Live on air, I am putting in a waiver claim for Tyler Boyd. Okay. Let me explain why Daniel Jones, though, because we didn't even get to that. You just go, okay. And for whatever reason, I needed a 3rd tight end, apparently, so it was a good deal. So he's against Houston, right? And I know that they're the kind of the leaky ass rushing defense, and they actually have been all right against passing quarterbacks. But Daniel Jones isn't just a passing quarterback. He's got 3 rushing touchdowns this year, and his biggest games have been where he's had the rushing yards and the rushing touchdowns, which is fair enough because that's the fastest way to accrue the points. And they've been against Chicago and the Jags. Horrible run defenses. I don't know. This is all just lining up. This is 6 moons, all just hitting alignment, man. I'm going to hang my hat on. I think Daniel Jones will get you 20 plus points in fantasy this week. No question.
I need it. I need it, Matty.
I was going to say 25, but I thought that might be a bit ballsy. I just want to make sure that you sail the week without Lamar, mate. 20 plus.
Yes, Sleeper says 18.83 projected.
No, undershooting.
You're going a little higher than the projected. So I'm
20 is a minimum. I'm not even saying maybe. No, minimum 20. 20 is his floor. There's no way he gets less than 20. He's probably running and touching, but he's definitely going to run because, man, once Damian Pierce is exhausted from having run for 150 yards, you're not going to pass. He's going to run some more. And DJ, he can do it, man.
Yeah, fair enough.
I wonder how Taylor from a better place, wherever he is, would feel about that. I'm going to move right into the running back straight away, though. And I think this is one that you're also going to love. This is actually Matty just picks people Manjot loves. That's going to be the name of the segment this week.
Ooh.
Going with your boy. I'm going to take Jeff Wilson Jr.
Hey, yeah. I was literally thinking
you
about
were going to say it. I could tell. You're like, you better pick Jeff. I could see it. We got a mind meld going on, my brother.
I'm literally I was just about to pick him up before I got a bit distracted. Now I just did it. In that exact same league, I picked him up for the Dolphins defense. So I just had 2 defenses for no reason. The Dallas Cowboys, clearly the better defense.
Wrong Dolphin, man. Drop their defense, pick up Jeff Wilson Jr.
And I just did.
Cleveland 28th against the run. Jeff Wilson turns up there 15 minutes ago. He carves out a roll, and they're trusting him near the goal line. I don't need to see more.
Yeah, 100%. You need You need a boy. You need my boy Jeff Wilson. He already got a touchdown last week, receiving too. So he's already doing the work in the rushing and the receiving games. Matty C. So I'm excited. Look, even though he left my team, I'm still glad that he's doing well. I'm always supporting him, except in a couple of weeks when we play the Dolphins. I will be against him and Raheem. But apart from that game,
all you want there is a 42-41 game.
Yeah, I want 42-41, but yeah, I'll definitely be starting Jeff Wilson in my league instead of Michael Carter in my team there. So
100%. Michael Carter guaranteed to get you zip, and Jeff Wilson Jr. guaranteed to get you far more than that. He's got a role. It's been there 15 minutes already. I mean, this team is essentially 49ers East, and they're looking. They know what they get when they get these 49ers players, and they're using them. So I don't know. I don't think that's a difficult one, and I feel pretty solid about that. I don't think there's too much difficulty for him getting you just double figures with no questions.
Yeah, I think. Well, I was just a bit. You're saying getting more than 0. Well, wasn't there that one game on the Niners where you only got like 0.5 a couple weeks ago? It's just like, shit, he didn't even do well. So can't even guarantee it. But hopefully Miami does a bit better, hopefully a bit better. I think after that game, I think Shanahan was like, I need a trade for Ryan. Yeah, that was against the Falcons, and then next week, like, we literally pick up CMC like 4 days afterwards.
Yeah,
so,
right.
I think Shanahan saw enough. He was like, yeah. And you guys were laughing at me when I said we were getting CMC.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, see, if Taylor's going to be talking about Fields, if Taylor's talking about Fields, I'm at least going to have that take on you guys. So
fair enough, man. Egg on my face. I'm all right being wrong, man. Otherwise, I wouldn't keep turning up every week.
Yeah.
We must be all right being wrong. We suck at starts of the week.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm going to go into my wide receiver here. And I wonder how you'll go with this one because, I mean, I think the maths works out well. If you're missing guys like, your Bengals wide receivers, you're missing, even the Jets. Like if you're a Garrett Wilson owner, you're going to miss him this week. He's been startable, really startable. And I think that if you've been in the position where you feel like you've got to start him or Jerry Jeudy or any of those guys or Jerry Jeudy, this is the week where Jerry Jeudy is fine. In the last couple of weeks, he's been so much better. He's been averaging 8 targets a week in the last 5 weeks. Since week 5, he's been averaging 8 targets a week. The volume is there. He's getting that connection together with Russ, even though Russ has been a little dicey-shysty, and there was a week where it was Rippon instead of him. But Tennessee are a gold mine because they are 30th against the pass, and they just played their Super Bowl last week against the Chiefs and didn't win it. They didn't win it. I think they're going to be a team who's kind of... I know that they've got a little bit of a lead in the division now, and the Colts are a little shaky. I kind of feel like that's going to be their ticket to be like able to take a breath. And yeah, I like Jeudy. I think that he is such a quality player that he's starting to rise in the face of bad quarterback play. Now the quarterback play is starting to become average. He again is showing his class, and I don't think he should have any wavering. Should be 100% confident starting Jerry Jeudy in a week with these 4 teams off.
Yeah, 100%. You've got to start Jerry Jeudy if he's got a chance. I actually agree with this one. I think Sutton has been such a hard earn for me this year, but Judy's actually been returning value. But Sutton has been so hard to just own. I just hope for a good game from Sutton, to be honest. I'm kind of anti that call, but also I do like it. Yeah, I love how so many of the guys like what we chose in like preseason sucked, and then the guys you chose, Matty, absolutely great.
Some of them have been. I mean, a lot of them have been dirty
Like
dishwater.
Saquon, you're talking up Saquon. And
yeah, nailed that one. Montgomery.
CMC. Hey, yeah, I nailed IU. Who did Taylor nail again? He was a bit on Fields, wasn't he? I don't know. He was a bit
Oh man, I don't listen when Taylor talks. I mean, it just gets straight out the other side.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he missed on a guy named Elijah Moore, his former boyfriend.
Who? Elijah Cooks. He was big on, I mean, we're all big on Cooks, and he has been a disappointment, and now he hates his team. And
No, wait. Taylor was against Cooks, and he was right on that one. So
He was against.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, he was against Cooks, and then he all of a sudden had a raging stiffy for him.
Yeah. And
Big
then,
stiffy, and I mean, Taylor's a big guy. So
and then he
I'll knock
drafted
over
Cooks.
furniture.
Yeah, he drafted Cooks instead of Moore.
Over more, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think we all lost on that one. My tight end, though, I was divided about who to take as my tight end for this segment because I think there's a couple of cherries just sitting there waiting to be picked, and I kind of bypassed the cherries waiting to be picked and thought I'm really going to be helpful this week. Tight end is a bit of a shit fight, and I want to give people who are really sort of looking down the list a little bit and trying to get a bit creative. Maybe the guy who's in a position like 3 and 6, but not out of touch in their division in a bigger league, or someone who's 4 and 5 and just trying to keep touch and just needs a boost from their tight end position because they don't have Andrews likely, they don't have maybe Hunter Henry or whatever it is they're missing. They've been trying to ride the Waller wagon. I'm saying go get Noah Fant.
Oh yeah, he was pretty good last week, wasn't he, Matty?
It was his best week for a while, but they're going up against Tampa Bay in the Munich game. Okay, so but Tampa have been surprisingly poor in the middle. They've been surprisingly poor. It turns out they're in the bottom 10 against fantasy tight ends as well, which is surprising. But with both those things kind of merging, right? So you've got the deterioration of the middle of the Bucks defense, and you've got Fant's emergence. I don't know. It kind of feels like there's a start to the week-esque pinnacle to be climbed there. And so I'm gonna hang my hat on Fant. And I think my pass-fail mark is going to be 8.5 points.
Oh, okay. Okay.
If you can score more than that, you're probably right. This is the Everett line, I'm calling it. Everett was 8.6 last week. And we're saying he did all right. So if I can get 8.6 or up, I feel like that's equally successful.
Yeah, better than
for a guy who's less owned,
Yeah, the Mendoza line. The Everett line.
The exactly 200 batting. Yeah, Mendoza. That's it. It's the Gerald Everett line, which I'm sure Everett never thought anything would be named after him. Mount Everett at 8.5. That is horrible, by the way. Bad dad joke.
Yeah.
Very, very bad dad joke.
Yeah.
You like the call?
Yeah, I can see this. I can see this happen a bit. I'm liking the fan call. He did play well last week. I think there's enough there, but I do kind of want to see what he has against the freaking Bucks defense, because the Rams literally just passed the Cooper Cup. But then again, that's the Rams, so a whole different team, might be a different story. Let's see.
This is the big one. The fantasy AIDS.
You got new disease, Matty. It's got to be the broken arm.
Oh, fantasy collarbone. Fantasy.
Funny bone.
Can we keep it something like viral, maybe, or something like contagious?
Yeah, we can't use code.
We
can't use code. Because it would be like misinformation, be tagged by YouTube.
It's like something dodgy. Fantasy crabs.
Yeah, all right, go for it.
Ooh. Yeah, that's uncomfortable. Fantasy crabs are going to, and I think this is a bit of a big call. The emergence in the last couple of weeks is why this is a big call. Dalvin Cook.
Oh,
fantasy aids to Dalvin Cook. Fantasy crabs, sorry, to Dalvin Cook. So they're going to the Bills, and it's such a tough out against that defense, and he hasn't. So he got the receiving touchdown this week. He hasn't proven to be a receiving option at all. The running back has been a running back and has not been part of the passing game, aside from that one play all year. It just hasn't been part of how the Vikings have lined up. And the one thing that he has had the volume in is dried up against this defense. So I'm saying that if you've got Dalvin Cook, you should be really fucking nervous. And he's my fantasy crabs candidate.
Yeah, 8th best against the RBs in fantasy this year, the Bills. So
and in Buffalo, I just think that's enough to make you quake a bit.
Yeah, how is that game on prime time? Come on,
Yeah.
man. That's just. I'd even flex it out.
Flex that shit. Get that in there.
Flex. Yeah, flex
We have
that.
to watch the
Niners-
Chargers instead, don't we? They flex
Yeah.
that one in.
Yeah, is the Chargers and not well, it wasn't flexed in, it was just originally there. They just never flexed it out. But I think it's just because the Bills have so many primetime games that the only game that got flexed this week, it was the Chargers Chiefs got flexed in. But that's for like next week or the week after or something. Like, instead of like Bengals and Steelers.
Yeah, week 11. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, who wants to watch the Steelers? But I mean, the Patriots keep on getting prime timers. Who wants to watch them?
Yeah, who wants to watch
They
the
win sometimes, but they
Broncos?
don't win pretty. And the Broncos, ugh.
And
And the Chargers
we're
have no
actually
one to
banned-
catch the ball.
Yeah.
Ugh.
If you listen to Good Egg Gridiron, you know I've been on a talking ban about
Yes.
that Denver Broncos. So no more.
You
No
might be
more
the
shit.
only person who hates the Broncos more than Taylor hates Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I've had to talk about this team too much.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, look, that's my Dr. Average segment, my intern segment. And I feel a lot like Zach Braff playing JD on that show.
Yeah, the medical apprenticeship segment.
Very well, yeah. Intern, not a resident. No, just an intern. So hopefully some of these will come up. Going to run through them again real quick. But Daniel Jones as the quarterback going up against the horrible Texans, because I think there'll be a rushing touchdown in that for him and some rushing yards. Jeff Wilson Jr., who's got a role for the Dolphins, already going up against the horrible Cleveland running defense, but also he's shown he's a factor in the passing game already. We're going with Jerry Jeudy against the Tennessee Titans, who are 30th against the pass. Jeudy with 8 or more targets in average in the last 5 weeks. Since week 5. Week 5 was the start of his run of having an average of more than 8 targets per game. And we're going to wrap it up with an odd one with Noah Fant, who's he's starting to see more action in that passing game, but he's also seems to be just timing wise. He's going up against a deteriorating middle for the Tampa Bay Bucks defense over in Munich. Let's have some international. Let's get the sauerkraut on and have a game over there and see Noah Fant. With no pants. Having a great time. And of course, the fantasy crabs going to Dalvin Cook. He'll be cooking up some crabs in your pants with Noah Fant. So how about that?
Yeah, fair enough.
That'll do it. I think now that we've done all the segments where it's just you and I, I'm really keen to get Marky Mark here for these later shows. Marky Mark, of course, for those who don't know, member of the Astros League that we're all in, but also he's been a friend of the show for a very long time too. Massive Dynasty player, and you'll see his show appear through our feed, the No Huddle Dynasty podcast. He's going to join us in place of Taylor for these 3-player segments, and I'm keen as mustard to get him in.
Prosecution calls their first witness.
Do not panic just yet. Even I am guilty of panicking.
I mean, what, are you going to detain the guy for just having a couple of bad days? I don't want people to follow me around at work and detain me whenever I have a bad
20 bloody 8th, Your Honor. Sorry for the cursing in your old courtroom, sorry.
I will allow it.